My heart nearly stopped when Veronica pulled a handgun from her designer purse and leveled it at my chest. For a second, I thought, I'm just a rancher about to be erased. You'll never own this land, she hissed. Your family story ends. Today, her mocking laugh echoed, hello. But something inside me shifted. I took a breath, my hands stopped shaking, and I locked eyes with her. You're standing on Granger land, I said. This ranch had weathered wars, recessions, and much. Worse than her. My family's name is carved into this dirt. Veronica didn't get it. She saw me as just another naive country bumpkin with a dusty pickup and too much pride. Meanwhile, she was filing bogus HOA violations, cozying up to corrupt officials, and scheming. What she didn't see coming was the fight I was preparing, the one she never thought I'd have the guts to face. 8 months earlier, I was still in Denver, working software for a startup. Life was simple, content with takeout containers and city life. But when my parents died in a car accident, everything changed. They left me Granger Ranch, 150 acres in northern Colorado, passed down since 1870. I packed up my life, moved home to fix the place up, and maybe sell it. But standing on that porch, breathing the cool mountain air, hearing the creak of the barn doors and lowing cattle, it felt like home. I didn't know much about ranching, but Hank, our longtime foreman, taught me the ropes. Julie Monroe, my neighbor, a 40-something widow with 2 kids, became a friend. She dropped by with homemade chili and gave me advice I couldn't find in a manual. Slowly, I found my rhythm. And then Veronica showed up. It was a Thursday afternoon when the shiny black Mercedes SUV crunched up my gravel driveway, the dust clinging like an insult. A woman stepped out, wearing cream slacks, gold flats, and sunglasses too large to be practical. I'm Veronica Holston, she said, stiff smile in place. President of the Silvergate Bluffs, HOA. I'd heard of Silvergate, a luxury subdivision half a mile from the south border of my land. Veronica scowled at my livestock pens. The smells are interfering with our residents' quality of life. I blinked and replied, this is a working ranch. It smells like cattle because there are cattle, and not under your HOA. Her face soured. We have ways of dealing with uncooperative neighbors. As she turned to leave, she glanced back. Trim that grass. It's an eyesore. A week later, the first violation notice came in the mail. Then another and another. Unapproved structures, unauthorized business activity, excessive noise. Even my roosters were too loud. The fines escalated. The final letter threatened legal action. I called Nate, my college roommate turned real estate attorney. This is harassment, he said after reading the notices. They have no jurisdiction over your land. But then he paused. Veronica's husband, Dale Holston. He's a big name in development. Watch your back. I started digging. What I found made my stomach turn. The Holston Development Group had filed permits for something called Silvergate Ridge, a massive luxury resort that surrounded Granger Ranch on 3 sides. They didn't hate my cows. They wanted my land. Things escalated fast. My irrigation was mysteriously shut off for 3 days. Photos were taken of my property by people claiming to be from the county. Someone left the south gate open, and half my herd ended up on the road. Julie had to help wrangle them back. This wasn't just greed. This was war. I discovered Mayor Tim Reynolds had quietly approved a new public access easement cutting through my pasture. I hadn't been notified. They were trying to lower my property value and then swoop in with a lowball offer. The intimidation tactics kept coming. One night, I received a call from a blocked number. You should sell while you can, the voice growled. It would be a shame if something happened. I wasn't going to be bullied. At the next city council meeting, I stood at the podium, documents in hand, exposing the collusion, the threats, and the abuse of power. Mayor Reynolds tried to shut me down, but someone shouted from the back, Let him speak." Everyone turned. It was Colonel Frank Granger, my great-uncle, a retired Marine, a local legend. After I finished, Councilwoman Leah Kim pulled me aside. "You've got guts, and maybe a case." The next day, the Rockledge County Chronicle ran the story, Rancher versus Empire, how a family farm became the target of HOA tyranny. It went viral. Silvergate residents contacted me, sharing their own horror stories. One woman had been fined $1,200 for planting daisies instead of HOA-approved petunias. Then a surprise ally came forward. Eli Holston, Veronica and Dale's son, stepped out of a beat-up Honda. "I don't agree with what they're doing," he said quietly. "They've done this before. Buy land cheap, squeeze owners, build, flip, move on." He slid a USB drive across the table, emails, financial records, and a map. "There's something else. Your grandfather placed a covenant on part of Silvergate's land." That night I opened the file. Ella was right. The land had a clause stating that any future commercial development would trigger the family's right of first refusal. We could buy it back at original market value, adjusted for inflation. I called Nate. "We've got them." But the fight wasn't over. One morning my barn was burned down. Arson. Security footage had been wiped. Julie's water tested positive for illegal runoff from Silvergate construction. Even the sheriff's office, tangled in Holston influence, gave us the runaround. But Frank pulled strings with the state attorney general's office, and Agent Miranda Lopez took over. "This isn't just one corrupt HOA," she said. "It's a syndicate, and we've been watching them." I doubled security. Nate began filing lawsuits. Then I made my boldest move. With a loan backed by Frank's connections and funds from an Austin investor, I bought the HOA's outstanding debt. I now had the power to restructure or dismantle it. At the next HOA meeting, I walked in, legally entitled to a seat at the table. Veronica's face turned white. "This is a private meeting," she barked. "Not anymore," I said. "I'm your primary creditor." Residents stood up, demanding answers. Veronica failed to regain control. That night, security footage showed her dumping waste near the stream again. When I confronted her, she pulled a gun. "You don't get to win," she said. But I had already won. The footage went to Agent Lopez. Veronica was arrested for aggravated assault, illegal dumping, and conspiracy. Dale was indicted for fraud and bribery. Mayor Reynolds resigned. The Holston mansion was foreclosed and converted into a historical museum honoring Granger Ranch's role in the county's founding. Julie and I married the next spring. Granger Ranch was declared a historical landmark. It was untouchable. Every year, we now host the Granger Harvest Festival, not just to celebrate the land but to remind everyone, this is our home. Not a business opportunity, not a Pinterest backdrop, home. This land remembers who it belongs to.